Well, welcome to the season premiere of Friday Night Lights. Of course, this is the first time I've been in studio since March 6th, so I'm very happy to be back. A lot of us didn't know if this day would actually even happen, but we're very thankful it's here and that these student athletes can play some football. So let's get right to it. Our game of the week featured two teams that came in with high expectations and also ranked in the top 25. Number 9, Troy, with their electric running back, Zach Herbashik, facing off against number 21, Salado, and their incredible linebackers at Crusader Stadium. Second quarter, Hutton Hare in the gun, fourth down, drops one over Rook Brown's shoulder, 25 yards, and the Eagles take a 26-15 lead in the half. Third quarter, Hare caps a 6-minute, 22-second drive to open the half. 1-yard keeper, 33-15. Zach Herbashik going to Sam Houston State. Yeah, 70 yards and a touchdown. So the Trojans not going away yet. Ensuing Eagle drive. The Louisiana Monroe commit, Brown takes the pitch 15 yards later. He's in for the touchdown. But let's go to the big board because Salado comes away with the big win, 46-27. So that is a massive win by them. Curtis Quillen has been at this game from the very beginning, and he joins us live from Crusader Stadium where, well, Salado, hey, picking up their first win of the season. And there's Coach Alan Hare. What does he have to say?
Yeah, Nick, first win of the season and just the third time in the past 11 meetings in this series. Salado gets the win over Troy, a very good Troy team, 46-27. The final. Coach Hare standing here with me, his fifth year in Salado. Clock hit 0. You guys come out on top, and off camera you were telling me this is a big-time win for you guys. Why is this so big for y'all?
Well, it's a big-time win. We're playing the number 9 team in the state in 3A. Went 4 rounds last year, 12-2, and they've gave us fits. They're well coached and play hard-nosed football, and so to get over this hump is huge for our program.
Did you almost see like this look of just jubilation on your kids' faces? Not you got over the hump against Troy, and you're clicking first week out instead of having to get to that point.
Yeah, I felt like we executed, and they've worked really hard, and as any program works hard, and we just got good kids that work hard at buying to being unselfish and being a team member. And we always talk about last is first and first is last. It's much more than X's and O's if you want to be good.
It's not easier for you guys from here. Grandview next week, Stephenville after that, Mexia after that. How do you build on this to keep momentum going as you build toward that district schedule?
That's a good point. I believe Grandview's won state a couple times, and maybe back-to-back.
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to worry about that tomorrow. I know the hardest person on our schedule is Salado Eagles because we got to get up and go to work in the morning. We got to work on Monday, and we got to overcome ourselves. I'm excited for the seniors. I'm excited for them that they can finish their career against Troy 2-2, because they split their freshman year. And so it's a good win for us. One win doesn't make the season. You're just trying to win that pre-district now, just trying to win one more.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations on the win tonight. We will hear more from Hutton Hare, the quarterback, and the ULM commit running back, Rook Brown, coming up later in the show. For now, live at Crusader Stadium in Belton with our game of the week, the Salado Eagles winners in week 1. I'm Curtis Quillen. Nick, we'll send it back to you in Temple.
Yeah, that's a massive win by Coach Hare and the Salado Eagles there. Congratulations. Hey, now to something new that we've started tonight. Since Nikki can't be with me in studio, we've sent her out to Mexia for a flex game of the week between the 22nd ranked Black Cats taking on number 11 Cameron Yo. Tristan Abram making his debut as Mexia's head coach. We'll pick it up in the third quarter. Mexia's Trey Jones. He takes the handoff, and he's going to run it all the way. Look at that blocking. Stiff arm somebody, and he's just going to outrun people. Fighting. 40 yards later, he's right there, 1st and 10. Following play, 36-yard pass right here by Trey Holman. Very nice. He runs into the end zone, puts the Black Cats up. Actually, they're down 21-9. Following possession, Yeoman in the red zone. Zane Zedner fumbles right here. Recovers by Mexia's Ian Duffy. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Call it a handoff to Trey Holman. I don't care what you call it, but guess what? He finds a big old hole, and he is off to the races. 75 yards to the end zone. The Black Cats would go on top, and, well, they would actually be down 5, and that's how it would end. 21-16. Cameron Yo on top. And let's go out to Nikki Latterillo, who's live at Black Cat Field, where the Yeomen off to a 1-0 start. Nikki?
Well, hey, Nick. Yeah, this game was all Cameron Yo in the first half and all Mexia in the second half, but it was Cameron Yo that came up On top, I'm joined now by head coach Tommy Brashear. Coach, thank you for joining me.
Yes, ma'am.
So you told me earlier in the summer that this was a rebuilding year or a reloading year, you called it.
We hope, yeah.
It didn't look like there was a lot of growing pains out there tonight. How do you feel about the performance?
Extremely proud of our kids. They played extremely hard all night long, got after it. I wanted to see how we matched the physicality of a slot T offense like that. Mahia's got some very talented kids over there, and I was really proud of our kids. I thought they responded very well. We did have some growing pains there in the second half. You know, Mahia made some adjustments, and we had to make some adjustments, and but it turned out well. Turned out, I'll take it. Our goal is to be 1-0. We're 1-0, and feel really good about it. We played a really tough Mahia team.
And now, how do you go into next week, building off this momentum, making sure that you guys got lucky that you didn't score in the second half and it didn't come back to bite you? How do you make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, you know, that's part of our growing pains. We're young, and we're making some young mistakes, and we've got to learn from that. And these kids have been very coachable. They're playing hard, and we can work with that. And we'll get on the film, and we'll watch what we did and learn from our mistakes and get it fixed. And I have no doubt this group will do whatever they can to fix it. They're a fun bunch to coach. They're doing a great job, and that's part of being young. We'll fix it.
And regardless of the outcome of the game, whether you won or lost, how fun was it to be out here today after everything going on, actually stepping foot on the field?
Yeah, it was extremely fun. Our kids were just so happy. We're getting to play football. You know, things are kind of back to normal. It felt back to normal, and it was a lot of fun. You know, we didn't have quite as many fans in the stands, and you know, that's part of the guidelines, and that's you know, we got to be safe about it. But it was fun to be back out here, and I know the kids had a blast as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Again, our flex game of the week, Mahia hosting Cameron Yo. The final score 21-16, Yeoman on top. They wanted to go 1-0, and they are 1-0. So we'll send it back to you in the studio, Nick.
Yeah, Nikki, they were actually flexing those muscles tonight, so that's a big win by them. We'll check on with Nikki later on the show. So let's stay in 4A. Number 15, Connolly, playing host to number 7, Sunnyvale at Mac Peoples Stadium. Expectations are extremely high for Shane Anderson and his Connolly Cadets. They're picked to win District 9 4A Division II and have another deep run. Trey Wisner had a monster game. This is for 15 yards right here and a first down. Jamari Wiggins, you'll see him in your picture. Nice blocking by the offensive line there. He almost scores, gets all the way down to the 3-yard line, but Sunnyvale holds him to a field goal by Ralph Morales. Let me tell you about Mr. Trey Wisner. He has over 266 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns. Connolly currently leads 39-25. Brian Bell and his China Spring Cougars, they're hoping to build off their area round finish a year ago. They were about home taking on Benbrook. Quarterback Major Bowden. Looking, nice. Splits those defenders. That's 15 yards and a Cougar first down. And Emmanuel Abdullah. Remember last year he rushed for like 300-400 yards in a game? Well, he takes the handoff here. He's just bulldozing his way all the way to the goal line, and he will score in the very next carry. 7-zip China Spring. Let's go to the big board because those Cougars, they win 74-35. Wow. Let's head out to Taylor with the Ducks squaring off against the Robinson Rockets tonight. Handoff right up the gut, and he is not going to be touched. Can he outrun the whole secondary? Almost. Yes, he does. All the way to the end zone. It's 7-0 Rockets on top. Later, they are about to punch it in. First and goal. They do punch it in. 14-zip Rockets. Let's go to the big board. 26-21. Hey, that's a big road win by those Robinson Rockets tonight. The Gatesville Hornets, they didn't win a game last season, but I guarantee you that's going to change in 2020. Luke Howard's squad was in Delano taking on the Yellow Jackets. Case Kukendall throws one deep to Quincy Prince. Take me with you to the end zone, my friend. Jackets lead 7-0 as the student section is extremely hyped. Kukendall again to Prince. Hey, it worked the first time. Might as well work the second time. Looking like Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire. He said, show me the money. That's another touchdown. It's 14-zip. Gatesville. Hey, look, they're feeling the pressure right now. High snap. Quarterback's going to have to fall on it. Oh, just not a good night. Hey, look, my dad, he always talks about Beasley. Well, guess what? Kukendall launches one to Jared Beasley. He's wide open. I know he's laughing at home right now. It's 21-zip. Atlanta leading big time, 45-16. Scores from around the area. Number 1, La Vega. How about this? Big win against number 5, Port Lavaca Calhoun, 20-7. Atlanta passes all over Brownwood, 55-23. Number 7, Rockdale. They're in a nail-biter against LaGrange. Lake Worth and McGregor, high-scoring game, but they fall by 4. And we'll have much more Much more scores, much more highlights coming up after the break. Get you some popcorn, go grab yourself a big glass of Big Red, and we'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back. You know, it was another historic year for the Mar Panthers as they captured their 8th state championship in program history. Tonight, their quest for number 9 begins with a date against the Teague Lions. Let's head out to Mart ISD Athletic Complex where the Panthers loaded with talent this season. First quarter action, Jake Callahan. Going to have a long pass. This is not a way you want to start the season here. Throwing it up for grabs, and that's an easy interception right there by March Tredavian Medlock. Next play, handoff to Clydarian Campbell. He's going to take it all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. PAT is good. It's 7-zip. Later in the first, Dillian Lundy taking it all the way down to the 50-yard line here. Great blocking right there. Following drive, or the following play, it's Rodrell Freeman. And, of course, this kid, he can flat-out play anywhere. On the keeper, runs it into the end zone. He's just, no, you can't, look, you can't bring that guy down. Sorry. PAT is good. They were up 14-zip, and this was just, they kept scoring and scoring. 34-7 March. They pick up right where they left off last season. 14th ranked Rogers. They brought back a lot of talent on both sides of the football. Could they get past the Little River Academy team that has a lot of experience in 2020? First quarter, Eagles facing 4th down, and the pitch is back to Christian Riley. He gets tripped up, and the Bumblebees take over. Ensuing drive for Academy. Bees facing 4th down. Jerry Seif is back to pass. It is picked off by Riley Mister. Do everything for Rogers early in the Eagles, and they're taking flight right now on that drive. Riley takes it, finds some space to the sideline, and he's gone. He's going to hurdle defender like Zeke Elliott back in the Cowboys days last year, out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Next play, Riley finishes it off. It's 7-zip Rogers. Let's go to the big board because look at this. Academy pulling the upset tonight on the road, 2015. That's a massive win by the Bees. Holland, they're coming off the greatest season in program history. Tonight, they would find out how good they really are in a hurry as they played host to number 12 Burton. We'll pick it up in the second quarter. Holland leading 6-0. Josh Evans slicing to the defense. He picks up a gain of 9 yards and a Hornet first down. Then Ethan Botts fakes the pitch, finds a wide open Ethan Mann. He literally dump trucks a defender, walks in from 20 yards out. Holland led 13-zip. Burton would start marching down the field, but Cooper Lurcher, hey, won't you meet J.C. Cheney here? That was the kind of night for Burton. The Hornets, how about this? They were leading, then they picked up a massive win, beating a top 15 team 27-12. Big night for head coach Rusty Reynolds and his Axtell Longhorns. If they can make a statement with the win over number 20 Granger, let's pick it up. First quarter, DJ McClellan. He takes the handoff. Axtell's defense surrounds him like a swarm of bees. Then watch the play from Kobe Hollingsworth. He went deep undercover like Axel Foley, rips the football away. He's going to rumble 30 yards right there. Horns, well, they flip it on offense. They're driving. Jamie Woolley on the pitch. Thomas Rhodes, he must have played a lot of Grand Theft Auto on the PS4 because that man just stole the football. He gets tackled. Granger goes back on offense. Oh, guess what, Rhodes? He's also the quarterback. He calls his own number. Why not? Races to the sidelines. Almost knocks me out, but I don't even care. And look at him. 46 yards later, it's 1st and goal. 2 plays later, Johnny Ryder, he's going to stroll in for the touchdown. Extra point was good at 7-zip at that point. And Granger, they go in to shut out Axtell 32-0. Top 15 matchup in Franklin between the 8th-ranked Lions taking on number 13 Lorena. This was a really good one here. First quarter, great start for Franklin. Bryson Washington fakes the dive, takes off the other way. Huge gain and a first down. Same drive, going to the air. It's Washington rolling out to a wide open Penn Hayden Helton. That's for the touchdown right there. It's 6-zip Lions. Franklin's defense. Now they go to work. Ashton Ferguson. Uh-oh. Lorena didn't see it. They come up with the sack right there. Second quarter. Lorena back with the football, and they answer. Ben Schmedhammer to Jaden Porter on the post. Look at that. Great concentration. What a play. Lepers go up 7-6. Later in the frame, that duo is going to strike again. It's the same play. Schmedhammer to Porter. You're going to be down at the 2-yard line. Nice play on the post right there. It would be 14-6 at the half. And how about this? Lorena on the road defeats number 8 Franklin 21-20. Rosebud Lot on the road tonight, squaring off against Jewett-Leon. Leon ball here. Jacob Robinson hitting Micah Bertelson on the slant. Huge game. Look at that big guy. Holy smokes, looks like he's 7 foot. He gets yanked down. And then that drive would stall, though. Cougars ball again, down 6-0, but Robinson finds Tyson Cornett for the seam. First down, same drive. Watch this. Oh, a little tricky right here. Halfback, oh, toss pass. That's a reverse looking like Tecmo Bowl. Tito Gonzalez on the fly sweep, but it's a reverse. Hey, Cornett, well, they go around the end right here. I don't know what just happened there. It looks like a block punt. It goes all the way for the touchdown. Let's go to the scoreboard. It's late fourth quarter. Jewett-Leon leading 30-19. Let's go out to Tiger Stadium to see how this one played out with Bremen and Normandy. Both teams fully expecting to pull out a win here. All the hype is about these two offenses, but let's start with some defense. Mason Hardy keeps it for Normandy. Sees the hole, but absolutely gets plowed right there. Then Normandy, well, guess what? They could lay the lumber as well. Seth Kozowski keeps it on the read option, gets to the outside, and hello, he's going to need some Advil after that hit. His helmet falls off, but he'd get right back up, stay in the game. Later in the drive, Kozowski calls his own number again, finds a crease, and he is gone right here, 12 yards to the crib. Bremen takes the early 8-0 lead. Very next drive, Normandy. They're going to come back and answer with a touchdown of their own. And let's go to the big board because Normandy, it was all them tonight, 29-14. All right. Valley, let's go to some scores here. Groesbeck all over Corsicana Mildred, 53-6. Whitney, they fall 45-34. West on the road against Lexington, they fall 25-14. Clifton, big win over Sanger, 24-14. It was Chilton over Rice, 14-8. Hubbard, big win over Bartlett, 54-6. Bruce Folletti, they fall to Millsap. Riesel all over Marlin, big late in the fourth quarter. And Moody shutting out Hamilton 32-0. No score in the Crawford Goldthwait. San Saba over El Dorado 56-7. Jonesboro shuts out Coolidge 48-zip. It was Abbott over Avalon 26-18. Parkview Christian, they fall, well, right now it says at the half, down by 6. And Thorndale over Dawson 24-14. All right, you don't want to go anywhere because when we come back, we'll go back out to our game of the week and check on Curtis Quillen with that big win by the Salado Eagles. We'll be right back. Oh, well, actually, you know what? We're going to go ahead and end the show, and then we're going to come back on Facebook Live. Log on to our app. Go to KCENTV.com. We'll have much more on Friday Night Lights. We'll see you then. Welcome to our live stream portion. You know, it's already been a wild night in Central Texas, especially at our game of the week between number 9 Troy and number 21 Salado. Let's go back out to Crusader Stadium. Curtis, massive win for Salado, especially to beat a really good ranked Troy team that had a dynamic offense. I mean, what did you think? What was the key for them tonight?
Well, the key, Nick, was offensively. The Eagles clicked like it was week 9 of the season tonight. And a lot of that has to do with the two gentlemen standing next to me and so many starters and guys who got a lot of playing time in all 12 games last year coming back on the offensive side of the football. Let's start with quarterback Hutton Hare. Hutton, what seemed to click for you guys offensively tonight?
Well, I feel like it was great team effort. Everybody did their job, and I feel like we wanted it more than Troy.
How big of a win is this for you guys?
Well, we focus on one game a week, and this was big, huge. We've been talking about it all 2 days. We wanted it.
You guys get a district that is always loaded, no different this year. How does a physical team like Troy and a game like this, where you've got 22 guys holding sledgehammers on a football field, prepare you guys for a district with Gerald and China Spring and Robinson and Connolly?
It was great. Having competition early is just going to make us better, and that's what we like.
Now, we saw you drop a pass over Rook's shoulder in the second quarter. How long have you guys, a slot T offense, been working on some shotgun fourth down plays?
Yeah, we tried to put a little bit in here and there, but brand new, we just gave it a shot.
Rook Brown, the Louisiana Monroe commit on my left, the right of your screen. Rook, this offense seemed like it was clicking on all cylinders. Even whenever they had to pull you off to get a rest or they couldn't get the ball to you, it seemed like you guys really embodied the next man up mentality. What are your thoughts on this performance tonight?
Great thing about our offense is we always have three backs that can go, and they went tonight. They all three of them. And Hutton, the quarterback, had a good game, a great game. Of course, the linemen up front too, but all of our backs are dangerous.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Hutton. That you guys are in a district with Connolly, who got a win tonight, an up-and-coming Gerald team. Robinson was pushing Taylor tonight. What do you guys need to build on out of tonight to compete in district?
Well, we've got a pretty tough pre-district this year, but I mean we've had the same district since we've been in high school, so it's nothing new to us, and it's what we're used to now.
You mentioned that non-district schedule. Grandview, the two-time reigning state champion, next week, their quarterback is back. The week after that, Stephenville, 4A Division I powerhouse. The week after that, Mexia, in the process of changing its offense, a Mexia team that had its moments tonight against Cameron Yo. How do you build on this one in those next three games so that when you get to district, you guys are starting to fire on a higher level than tonight?
I would say this might be the hottest start our offense has had since Coach Hare has been here. Putting 46 points up the first game is huge. So if we keep the offense rolling, defense made stops when it needed to, I think it'll look good. And hopefully we keep this up with some other top-tier talent. But Troy's a good football team, and so the next teams we're going to play.
And he's not kidding when he says that. Dane Yench back at quarterback for Grandview. We'll talk more about that in the moments to come. But, Nick, like he said, anytime out of the slot T you score 46 points, you feel pretty good about your offense.
No doubt about that. I mean, like you said, they look like they were in Week 9 mode instead of Week 1. But congratulations to them. That's a massive win, and two teams that are definitely going to be in the postseason this year. Well, Nikki Lattarulo, she's at her flex game of the week as the Mexia Black Cats and Cameron Yeoman, they squared off in a classic. Cameron Yo pulls off the upset on the road, the first win of the young season. Nikki, do you think that Cameron Yo can build on this success tonight?
Yeah, Nick, I definitely do, because you just heard head coach Tommy Brashear speaking to me earlier, but when I spoke to him in the summer, he was saying that they lost, I think it was like 21 of their varsity players from last season, and they obviously had a really good team last year. So he said all the guys that were on JV last year watched them lose that final playoff game and saw how much they wanted it and wanted to feed off that. And tonight it definitely showed that they were trying to continue that season that was so good last year this year, even though so many of those guys left. So in the first and second quarter, it was all Cameron Yo. It was 21-3 at halftime. And then Mexia, you got to give it to them. They didn't do much in the first half, but in the second half, I think they had that tricky offense. It's a new offense because they have the new head coach, Tristan Abram. And I think in the first half, they were kind of having trouble because Cameron was stopping them. And then in the second half, they started passing the ball. And that is where that first touchdown came. I think it was 36 yards. Trey Holdman, he had a 36-yard reception, ran it into the end zone, and then they got the momentum from that. And then the same guy, Trey Holman, had a 75-yard touchdown run. So that was when they started coming into their own. But Cameron, their defense really did well holding them in that second half, and that's how they won. But Tommy Brashear said earlier that he hopes that they don't have another game where they're only really good in the first half, because they got lucky that Mexia wasn't able to outscore them too much in the second half. But I definitely think, to answer your question, that they will build on this, because this was a good Mexia team. They have so many of their players returning from last year. So I think that they will absolutely build off this. And I think they're going to be a good team. I don't think anyone should sleep on Cameron Yo, because I think that quarterback, Zane, I forget what his last name was, Zayt or something. He's young and good, and they were looking really good out here today. So I wouldn't sleep on them, but I also wouldn't sleep on Mexia, because they looked really good as well.
I mean, I totally agree. Well, we're going to catch up with you in just a bit, because we got a special guest right now. One of my favorite segments of the show. It's time for Coach Talks. Let's bring in Mart head coach Kevin Hoffman. Coach, huge win tonight. Everybody wants to start 1-0. A lot of teams didn't. Your teams did. What was the key for you guys tonight?
Oh, we jumped on them early. We had a big big first quarter, and got a 3-touchdown lead in the first quarter, and then that was the key to the rest of the game.
You forced a lot of turnovers. How big was that in a big momentum shift in the game where when you force turnovers, most of the time you win, but also you turn those turnovers into points? I mean, how big was that?
Sure. Anytime you can win the turnover battle, you're going to have a lot of success. And we won that tonight and then was able to cash in on those turnovers that we got. It's big in any game.
We're watching some highlights right now. You guys ran the ball extremely well. I mean, how pleased were you with not only your running backs, but let's start up front with your offensive linemen. Those guys, they don't get a lot of credit, but, I mean, they do the job night in and night out.
Sure, and everything starts with those guys up front, and, they don't get a lot of press, but, Aiden Lane, Trey Arjan, Micah Sauls, Brandon Horn, and Fernando Alfaro were big, our starting offensive line tonight, at making some holes. And then, our guys our skill guys can go and when you make places and big holes for them to run, they can turn them into big games.
We've talked with you the last several months and just all the crazy wackiness that's going on with COVID and are we going to play, you're not going to play. Now that you guys have got a game under your belt and you're able to kick off, I mean, what does that put in perspective that, man, I mean, everything that you guys have gone through since March, is it kind of just a wow that we're here and playing football and the kids are finally got to let loose and play?
Yeah, we just feel blessed to be able to have the opportunity to practice and play with everything that's going on in the world today. We talk about that all the time, and we, the old cliche, practice every day like it's your last practice, and play every game like it be your last game, and it's nothing more true about those statements than it is now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and so we're happy and blessed to be out there and have an opportunity to finally play a game.
You're absolutely right. I mean, today we play, and then tomorrow something else could happen, could be shut down. Coach, I appreciate your time. Congratulations. You guys picked up where you left off, and we always love seeing the Mart Panthers going, trying to go for that 9th state championship. You guys have a heck of a program over there, Coach, and it's no surprise that you guys are coming away with the W tonight.
Well, appreciate it, and you guys be safe, and thank y'all.
All right, Coach. Have a good night. That was Mart head football coach Kevin Hoffman. Again, Mart Panthers always rolling. All right, look, you saw it earlier. Lampasas taking on Brownwood, and then, of course, they steamrolled them to start 1-0 on the season. Of course, they're led by one of the best players in the entire state. So let's go back up to Curtis Quillen. Curtis, you spent some time with Ace Whitehead. What is this kid like? I mean, he's one of the best players in the entire state.
He's one of the best players in the entire state. He's one of the most athletic people in all of Texas high school athletics. And yet when you talk to him, he is the most level-headed, humble human being I have met in high school athletics. It is impressive. Ace Whitehead, his footwork is sound. I mean, he can throw it wherever he wants on the field, and at the same time, he knows it's bigger than just him. Out in Lampasas, expectations are sky high as the Badgers return half their starters from a semifinal squad last year, thanks to quarterback Ace Whitehead.
Ace Whitehead, their quarterback, is one of the best players in the state of Texas hard stop, plain and simple. He is one of the most dynamic playmakers that you will see at any level. You could put Ace Whitehead on almost any 6A program and he would be a superstar. He is that level of talent.
Whitehead, a Longhorn baseball commit, has passed for more than 9,500 yards in 3 years leading the Badgers, and in 2019 was the Class 4A Offensive Player of the Year. Whitehead, a Longhorn baseball commit, has passed for more than 9,500 yards in 3 years leading the Badgers, and in 2019 was the Class 4A Offensive Player of the Year. More than that, though, he's a leader his teammates and his coaches love.
He's an awesome teammate. He's always there. He's one of the smartest people I know, without a doubt. He's football knowledge, school smarts, and common sense. He's just got it all.
It's like having a coach on the field, and that makes our jobs a lot easier. And in the midst of a pandemic, and you don't know what's going on, and you sleep a little easier at night knowing that you got your quarterback back.
And he leads a team that's been tightly knit since they were young.
We've had a good brotherhood for our entire growing up. small town. You know everybody, so we just love each other a lot and we want to go out there and play for each other.
It's easy to see Whitehead puts on inspiring performances week in and week out, both on the gridiron and on the diamond. But what is it that inspires the Star? Well, unfortunately, it's a tragedy from 6 years ago.
My cousin Braden passed away when I was in the 6th grade, and he was my best friend, to be honest. And, when he passed, that kind of gave me the greatest motivation to go out there and play every day, work every day in his name. And obviously just bring glory to God above all.
Now he's working to accomplish one dream.
I can remember being little and, just wanting to go out there and win games and, kind of bring Lampasas football to the top.
Before heading to Austin,
I think I hung up, talked to my parents, called back in 15 minutes, and was a Longhorn.
to live out another. Well, if I can't find the stats for tonight's game between Lampasas and Brownwood, but I'll start with this. Brownwood's defense is a little younger than it has been in years past. And Ace Whitehead, with 450 yards through the air, would have eclipsed 10,000 career passing yards as the quarterback at Lampasas High School, which is, and this is true, Nick, absurd at the Texas high school levels. Ace is a he and his receivers are clicking like they have been through their semifinal run last year. And there are projections that do have the Badgers facing La Vega for a 4A Division I state title when this is all said and done in December. Nick?
Let me add something to that. Ace Whitehead, he had also had a 92-yard touchdown run. So he had over 100 yards rushing tonight.
Yeah.
The kid is absolutely incredible. He has a chance to throw for over, I think, maybe 14,000 yards when his career is over with. He's a two-sport athlete. He's a Division I football player, Division I baseball player. I mean, those rarely happen, but hey.
And think of this. He's better at baseball than he is at football.
Which is hard to imagine. He's the best player in the entire state. He was Class 4A Offensive Player of the Year. And think about that. He's way better at baseball than he is in football. So, I don't know. That's wild. Yeah, we're going to come back with you in just a bit to wrap everything up. But first, obviously this season has a whole new meaning. The clear message from everybody I've talked to remains the same. Just savor the moment. Let's go back out to Nikki. And, you spoke with coaches and athletes this week about how this season is just different. I mean, what did they tell you about this season?
Yeah, Nick, several coaches around the area told me that this season is, while they're still all hoping to win a state championship, it's more about getting on the field and being with each other and savoring the moment rather than worrying about wins and losses, considering this season can end at any time.
Fly around, do not walk on this field, let's go.
After being named the head coach of the Lake Belton Broncos back in January, Brian Cope has worked tirelessly to make sure the athletic department is A1.
They say you only open a school once in your career. I can guarantee you only open a school once during a pandemic.
And amidst the pandemic, Cope has fully staffed the program and attracted 128 football players.
I did 70 Zoom interviews, making sure that not only do we have a quality football staff, but it's very important to me to have a quality athletic program.
Lake Belton has varsity level teams in every sport but football, which will remain at the freshman and JV level until 2022. But to the athletes, knowing they are the future pushes them even harder.
Since we're a new school, we're not just going to be terrible and come out off weak. We're going to be strong. And just show that we're not here just to play football. We're here to show who we are.
And that's a Bronco.
It means to push to your very limit, to give everything you got onto that field, to leave everything you got on that field.
That mentality has been instilled in the program with Cope's mantra, 212.
You hear it 100 times a day. It's just saying that, give the extra effort. Just showing that we're not going to give up, and no matter what, no matter who's looking, who's watching, you're still doing what you're supposed to do with the extra degree.
The Broncos cannot vie for a playoff spot for another 2 seasons, but from now, their eyes are already on the prize.
Our goal is to make the playoffs and win a district championship in 2022. We're also playing 4 Friday night games this year, so to make sure that in 2022, in that first game, it's not the first time they played under the Friday night lights.
Good, now good catch. Awesome, good job. That a kid.
Nikki Lattarulo, 6 Sports. Well, I actually spoke to Brian Cope before they played their first game, which was yesterday. They ended up beating Stephenville. This was JV, 48-0. So they might not be on our Friday Night Lights show yet, but in 2022, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with because those guys came out hot and they looked really good.
Those Broncos, I mean, it's kind of a weird to say the Lake Belton Broncos, but yeah, they played very well. He's got a really good program over there, and these kids. Well, you went and paid a visit, and you know they have freshmen and sophomores, and what 2022 is the goal right now, isn't it? Is that correct? That
yes.
they're talking about to get ready to play.
Yeah, they have a varsity team in every sport, and that is 4A except football. And then when football is going to be varsity in 2022, they'll be 5A. And they have 128 athletes already right now and 10 coaches. So I think by 2022, they should be. I mean, a lot of the kids were like, we're being coached as if we're the varsity team. So by the time we get to varsity, we're going to be so good. So yeah, I think they're being coached as if they are the varsity team. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, let's see if we can bring in Curtis Quillen to kind of wrap this thing up here in week 1, because again, we had a lot of games, a lot of really, really good games. We saw some upsets. First of all, Curtis, your thoughts on tonight? We had teams that, La Vega, they won, had a big win over number 5 Calhoun, Port Lavaca Calhoun. Lampasas rolled. We had some upsets. What was your takeaway of tonight's action?
Can I just say, I know La Vega was ranked preseason number 1 in 4A Division 1, but the fact that they beat Calhoun the way they did is the most impressive result that I've seen in our area tonight, because Calhoun is Calhoun's offense is called the Flying Veer. It's a combination of the veer, the slot T, all the gross, disgusting, just run-first offenses that you see in high school football with a little bit of spread tendency in it. It's the only offense in the 1,400 to 1,500 high schools in the state that play football that is like it. And this game didn't get scheduled until Monday, because when McLennan County shut down schools until Labor Day, La Vega lost its original Week 1 game against Dumas. That was supposed to be out in Sweetwater, which is near Abilene. So they get their games back, and they're supposed to go to Madisonville out in the gateway to East Texas along I-45 and play West Orange Stark, which Hurricane Laura kind of ruined for the Pirates. And then Monday they schedule this game against Port Lavaca Calhoun. I'm most impressed by La Vega. Lampasas look good, but I think Lampasas' biggest test will come further down the line. I want to see what they can do in district play. Brownwood's good, but Brownwood this year is not the Brownwood of last year, where it finished second place in that brutal District 5 4A Division 1. Then you look at the 3A. Troy had some uncharacteristic mistakes. I think a lot of it had to do with conditioning. Strength and conditioning was interrupted over the summer. They didn't get a spring. They only got one scrimmage. I think a lot of the stuff that led to Troy's demise tonight was not Troy's fault. I think a lot of it was stuff that was the result of the pandemic, the result of things way out of their control. I think once Ronnie Porter gets a couple of weeks into this thing, and they'll be plenty tested. Troy plays Mejia next week, Robinson the week after that, and Franklin the week after that. Troy will be plenty tested, and I would still be surprised if Troy did not finish as the 1 or 2 seed in 11-3A Division 1. I was surprised, though, there wasn't more chaos. I was very impressed with Mart as well.
And Nikki, I'm going to ask you about Mart. You were at that game. They ran the ball very well. They forced turnovers. I mean, is it the same Mart that we're used to year in and year out, that, hey, this is going to be another state championship run?
Yeah, I could honestly bet money that they will win another state championship this year and make it 4, because these guys just go out, and Teague was honestly playing really well, but then they just light on fire and they start intercepting and scoring. And Rodrell Freeman, I know I keep talking about him, and I know Kevin Hoffman said there's so many other good players, but that kid is so good. I don't think there's anything he can't do. So I have no what's the word? Doubt that Mart will win another state championship and go for Pete, because they look really good.
All right, well, that's excellent. Well, look, let me let you go from Mars. They're going to shut the lights out on you, so be careful driving back.
The Mejia wants me to leave, so I have to go. But it was so fun, guys. I always have the best time on Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, we'll see you next week then. Be safe driving home. And Curtis, I mean, week 2, we have Connolly and La Vega. This is first of 2 meetings for this year. This is going to be. This is probably going to be our game of the week for week number 2. I mean, it's going to be 2 powerhouse teams. This will not count in the district standings, but it's going to be one heck of a matchup.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, before we can formally announce it, because La Vega ISD is one of the 3 districts in our area that would not allow us on campus during 2-a-days as a COVID-19 preventative. La Vega, Groesbeck, and Valley Mills all asked us that we do Zoom calls with Don Hyde, Jerry Bomar, and Sam Moody, respectively. So we do have to iron some stuff out. That is our goal, is to have La Vega Connolly as our game of the week next week. I don't think they're playing a second time. I think La Vega Connolly was able to find another week 5 game. I need to double check on that. That was another fascinating thing. What I am most intrigued to see, and Nick, I want to ask you a little bit about this, and I do want to make another point before we leave tonight, because I saw something that really inspired me tonight. What was the social distancing like where you saw? Because here at UMHB, they were pretty strict about it. They divided the stadium like the Cotton Bowl during the Red River game. And they had Salado fans on the south side, Troy fans on the north side, and everybody was pretty well social distanced, outside of a couple of clusters here and there. And on the sideline, everybody who wasn't playing was masked up. But I did see another stadium where I did have some questions on whether people were taking the precautions seriously. I want to know if that was the same.
I went to 2 stadiums. One stadium, people were social distancing. They had their mask on, and they were lined up with cars along the fence. Another stadium I went to, there was hardly anybody wearing masks. I know there was a long line lined up on the fence line, and they had kids, and they were not wearing. I was telling Leslie, I said, man, you know, they were not wearing any type of mask at all. But I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's their choice. But the choice, you know, for a lot of people and like my family, they're, you know, my parents that are old and all the older generation, it's, you know, to kind of mask up and do it while we can right now, because all of us want this to be over with, and sooner rather than later.
Exactly. Back to football, Nick. Who impressed you most tonight? Besides Mark?
You know, I would say La Vega. I would say, you know, Salado, because I knew this was going to be a clash, but I actually thought that Troy might have had the edge. But hey, listen, what Coach Hare is doing out there, they have 2 stud linebackers. The one that was named preseason defensive district player of the year. They had another kid who was a newcomer of the year.
Peyton Miller.
Yeah, he is an absolute stud. Holland had a number 12 Burton at home, and boy, they played phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, you know, I talked with one of the Holland teachers, and they said, Holland teacher said, listen, we're not as good as last year, but we're still really good. And it showed tonight that when you knock off a top 15 team at home, they did what they were supposed to. Well, you know, what I thought they were supposed to do. But listen, it's still early, but that was another big win by them.
Yeah, exactly. And J.C. Chaney, I can't remember if he's a junior or a senior this year, but that kid is a stud. In 2018, he was Bruce Villetti's best player when his dad, the defensive coordinator at Holland, now J.B. Chaney, was in his final year as the head coach there. And everybody in that district, because that was Bruce Villetti's first year as a 2A school with Bosqueville and Axtell and Italy and Itasca. He was the best player, no matter on that Bruce Villetti team, no matter who you ask. Then he goes to Holland last year, and he was just as dominant on the defensive side of the ball as he was tonight, but he was overshadowed by Clay Cooper and Zane Spinn in the backfield on the offensive side. Nick, before we go tonight, I want to just take a moment and share kind of an update to a story that we've been following in our sports department since this pandemic started. In mid-April, Salado assistant coach Scott Balmos went to the hospital and had a 2-month hospital stay with a with just a long list of health issues. And Nick, I told you about this earlier tonight.
You did.
Balmos had some high blood pressure issues that led to a blood clot that led to him having to have an aortic dissection. He lost function in one of his 2 kidneys. He wasn't able to walk. He was in a wheelchair for a while. Guys, he not only went home just before Father's Day weekend and has been with his family, he can now stand.
Oh, it's fantastic.
He's in a wheelchair most of the time, and he can't really take a full step. His left leg, he's still working on getting the function completely back in it. His 1 kidney is working very, very well right now. He's able to start breathing a little bit better. He can stand. His right leg is completely back to normal. This man was in the booth tonight for Salado coaching this game.
That is excellent. That's great news.
That doesn't inspire you.
That is very inspiring.
I don't know what the heck will.
That is very inspiring.
That man and I
appreciate you.
Coach Balmos is one of the few assistants to walk straight up to me at a practice, introduce himself as I'm waiting on the head coach to show up for 2-a-days. And in covering that story, he's become more of a friend to me than a coach that we cover. And seeing that tonight almost had me in tears. And Nick, it was one of the greatest moments in my career, was being able to see him in the booth, even if he couldn't coach quite like he normally does, because I do believe he's an on-the-field assistant in a normal season for Salado. This is his 2nd season with Salado, and he's one of their top track coaches. He coaches the hurdlers there with the Eagles. But to see him in the booth coaching tonight is everything sports is about.
Well, next time you see him, you tell him that
I
we all
urge you,
wish him
I've
very
tweeted
well,
both of the
and
links
we're all
to our
thinking
original
about him.
and our follow-up stories.
Yeah, you tell him we were all thinking about him.
And I've tweeted the links to our original story with Coach Balmos and his family, and to our follow-up over Father's Day weekend. If you're just hearing about this for the first time, I urge you to go read and watch those. He and his wife and his kids are truly inspiring people after everything they've been through in the past 4 or 5 months.
Well, he is very inspiring to everybody, and like I said, Salado wraps it up with a big win, a game of the week. And we're going to wrap this up now because most of the time I'm falling asleep. I'm already in bed by 11 o'clock. But great work tonight, and we will see you coming up next Friday in week number 2 of Friday Night Lights. Be careful, buddy. And that's going to do it here in the studio. It's great to be back, and we look forward to a long season. So from all of us, we wish you guys a very happy weekend and a good night.